this lesson we're covering properties of trapezoids. We're going to look at properties of non-isosceles trapezoids as well as isosceles trapezoids. So let's get started. The first type of trapezoid we're going to take a look at is non-isosceles trapezoids. And the properties for non-isosceles trapezoids, it only has one pair of opposite sides that are parallel. So we have the pair here. You see it's denoted there by the parallel line marks. And consecutive angles between parallel lines are supplementary. So remember, supplementary means the two angles together will equal 180. So the consecutive angles between the lines would be, so these two angles here, right here. So these two will equal 180, as well as these two angles here will equal 180. So consecutive angles between the parallel lines are equal to 180. So let's look at this first example here. We want to just find the angles. So the measure of angle K, if we know that L is 51, we could simply subtract 180 minus 51, and that gives us 129. So the measure of angle K is 129, and the measure of angle M, subtract 180 minus 87, that equals 93. So the measure of angle M is 93. So K and L are supplementary and J and M are supplementary, meaning they equal 180. All right, looking at example 2 here, solving for X. So again, we have our parallel lines right here. So these two angles would be consecutive, meaning they equal 180. So I could set up an equation, 8x plus 6 plus 54. So 8x plus 6 plus 54 is equal to 180, and then just solve this equation. Combining like terms, 6 and 54 is 60. Left with a two-step equation, subtract 60, 8x equals 120, divided by 8. And x is equal to 120 divided by 8. So x is equal to 15. If you wanted to check it, just to make sure we got the correct answer, they should equal 180. So the measure, we could find the measure of this angle here. So 180 minus 54 is equal to 126. So the measure of this angle should be 126. So if we plug in x, we should get 126. 8 times 15 plus 6. 8 times 15 is 120, and what do you know? 120 plus 6 is 126, so that checks out. So that's just the way that we could check our work here. All right, so we have another two examples here. I would like for you to try them on your own, so go ahead and pause the video and try these examples on your own. All right, so hopefully you got the answers correct. Go ahead and check your work. In number 3, A and D are supplementary, and C and D are supplementary because they are between those two parallel lines. So C is 149, D is 118. And for number 4, we get 57 for X. So hopefully you got it correct. If not, pause and analyze the work here just a little bit more. All right, so let's take a look at isosceles trapezoids. They have the same properties as non-isosceles trapezoids, plus these properties. Non-parallel sides, which are the legs, are congruent. So B and D and AC are legs right here. So these are congruent. Diagonals are congruent. So AD and BC are congruent. So put some congruence marks here. Base angles are congruent. So angles C and D and A and B are congruent. So those are base angles. So let's put some congruence marks here, 2 here, and I'll put 1 up here. And also opposite angles are supplementary. So A and D would be equal to 180. Remember, supplementary is 180. And angles B and C would equal 180 as well. So let's take a look at these two examples here. This is an isosceles trapezoid. So DG non-parallel sides are congruent. So DG would be congruent to EF. Some congruence marks. And DF is congruent to GE because diagonals are congruent. Let's look at number 5 here. Look at the measures of these angles. So first we can find the measure of angle Q by simply looking at it because base angles are congruent. So measure of angle Q would be 112. And consecutive angles, because same properties as non-isosceles trapezoids. So Q and R would be consecutive angles. So they will equal 180. So to find angle R, I could subtract 180 minus 112. And that is going to give me 68. So the measure of angle R is 68. So if the measure of angle R is 68, the measure of angle S is also 68 because the base angles are congruent. Alright, so the last two I would like for you to try on your own. Go ahead and pause the video and try these two problems on your own. So go ahead and check your answers here. Hopefully you got them correct. If not, pause the video and analyze the work a little bit more here. We've reached the end of our lesson. I want to thank you for learning with me. Some related videos are properties of parallelograms, run by and squares, and rectangles. If you haven't already, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And once again, I want to thank you for learning with me.